welcome back to Behind the Scenes with Sarita Patel. I'm Latham Woodward, the co-host, and here is Sarita Patel as usual. Hi, Sarita.
Hey, Latham.
Today's title is Liars, Cheats, and Thieves.
It's a rerun of this one, but different information.
Different genre as well. We are doing this on this podcast rather than on our audio.
Right.
And basically what we're talking about here is some experiences that Sarita and I have had in the last year plus that are at best nefarious, at worst a full-on con job.
Ponzi scheme, con job. We are in that season, aren't we?
Boy, aren't we though? It is just unbelievable what all these people have tried to do to you. I got dragged into one of them where we were going to be CEO, CFO of a big company, and actually we're looking to raise, $500 million, $50 million, $40 million to get this thing off the ground. Mm-hmm. And later turned out to be the guy had already raised $8 million, not told anybody, and spent it all. Yep. Apparently, we don't know. Those are allegations that we never proved, and we don't care to because dealing with him was a nightmare.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. That was on the soil project.
Yes, it was.
We won't go into the details, but that is, on our last podcast that we did on the other channel, it was a warning, because I always think that, well, when things happen to me, right, then I've got to learn something from it and then tell other people. It's just sort of like a warning sign.
Correct.
Right? And that one we dodged a bullet. And, like Latham said, we were about to raise a lot of money. We had a lot of really excited people who were behind this.
We had very big movers and shakers who were behind the messaging, behind saving the planet, behind doing right and remediating waste into usable soils for farms around the world. We attracted through our joint networks people who were serious investors, and it almost was a nightmare. It
was. And so Latham and I had to sit down with all of the investors and all the other characters who were going to be a part of this. And literally their lives were going to be shifted out of whatever they were doing before so that they could completely be behind this, not just financially, but with their expertise and, with their roll up the sleeves and their contacts. And I'm only bringing this all up because it's not always just money, but what Latham and I had to do is sit down with everybody and say, we found a problem and we need to tell you about this.
But not only we have the problem, but we had the guy who's trying to pull it speak on video conference and show everybody who he really was.
Yeah, he did.
And it was a hard thing for us, but it was the most responsible thing for us to do, is to show that we did the right thing by doing the due diligence and finding out who this person truly was.
Right. And that's just it. Once you start, unraveling that ball of yarn, it just seems like, right, it just rolls and rolls and rolls and changes colors, and you get all these other characters in, and then you find out just how long these scams can run on and how many people actually get hurt.
Yeah, and in this case, the initial investors were hurt. They were hurt badly. Financially, which had nothing to do with us. That was well before our time. But the other thing was, and I always said this, was during our due diligence period, and it's something I'm fond of saying, is the truth is very simple. The lies are the ones, the stories get really weird. It's like, oh, this is a guy in the Czech Republic, and he wants to do this, and we're going to fly over there and get samples, and we're going to come back here, and then we're going to ship him off to this gold guy we know, blah, 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 blah. Just the easy story just became incredibly complicated.
Incredible, to the point where your head is spinning.
And
right?
It's on purpose.
It's on purpose. So that's the thing with the soil project. It was just kind of like everybody who was listening comes away hearing something different. And so there's confusion, but there's also this, we're all behind it. It's clean soil.
The thread of excitement.
Yes. But in this case, it was excitement to do something actually good for our food source. Right. And for our air.
Oh, for the country.
For everybody. for our cognitive health.
Yeah, so the macro message was very much a good one, but when you got into the minutia of it, it was in the science of it, it was preposterous.
It was just bullshit.
It couldn't happen, right?
Yep.
But unfortunately, this is not the only time for you.
Well, no. So when you said, excitement, the another one was the movie, right?
Yes.
And again,
now you can look up this. We're not going to mention the name here, but you can look it up on IMDb, who Sarita's a producer for on this movie. And so that's public knowledge. It's out there. And it's currently in some talks. Let's just say that.
It's in lots of talks, and there's lots of allegations.
Yes, there is.
But again, this is one of those things that you go, why is this so ongoing for years and years and years? And there's very little information. There's
the movie,
right, on what exactly
the back end.
happened.
I mean, it's the classic Hollywood, accounting thing. And if you haven't heard about this, and you just look anywhere about it, it's just like this crazy accounting system that only Hollywood uses, and only Hollywood can get away with. Maybe Broadway too.
Well, and maybe Broadway too, right? We don't know. But I think it's gotten to the point where, as I unraveled this one, and I really just saw what an epidemic it was in this industry, this fuzzy accounting thing, that, my friend at UCLA and I are working on this kind of legitimate exposure to see if the Motion Picture Association actually wants to continue either turning the cheek and pretending like this isn't happening. Or, we are in a creative vavoom kind of place, right? Now that Hollywood is shut down, creators know they have to create their own content. People are figuring out that they can actually produce something for not that much money.
Right.
Right? And if you're watching your own money doing this and you have platforms to put it on, we are looking at a transition. And this is a big industry. So there's a lot of money that goes away when something like this is not corrected, because the movie business also supports a lot of different kinds of people and jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Just ask the craft services and makeup artists and set builders, and Paramount's apparently empty now.
Wow.
Empty. Like all the sound stages are empty.
Right.
And that is a huge thing. It's a huge loss for California. Mm-hmm. It's a huge loss in general. But your experience, the one we're talking about here, is such that why wouldn't you be suspicious? Why? It's obvious why this industry is dying. Mm-hmm. There's too many people on the payroll. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you hear about, what was the movie called Back Room, which is I think it was made for $1.4 million or $400,000, something like that. Very low number. I think it's grossed worldwide, $100 million maybe. Mm-hmm. I might have that wrong, but it doesn't matter.
No,
if it made $10 million, it made money.
Right. So these are the things that are now becoming apparent, right? And so we're at a transition point, right?
Right.
And so I do think that my getting involved with that film, while I personally took, a ginormous hit.
Yeah, financially.
Financially. I mean, it just completely changed my life, because...
It was ruinous.
Yeah.
And
they don't care.
They don't care. And as far as you can tell, they're still living the life of Riley.
They're doing another film right now, right?
Yeah.
And they did another one after the one I did.
And you never got paid anything?
Nope.
Zero.
And because they know they can do that, and look, I was identified as the kind of person who would really do anything to help this get across the finish line.
Right.
Right? And I'm not so naive that I was like, oh, take this money, take all my money, right? And I'll just wait for it. That's not me. I mean, I'm a generous person with my time, but not that, I'm not stupid.
Right. But there's also, let's get off the film, because that's just, you can look into this yourself. Those of you at home, look into IMDb for
Google
Sarita Patel,
good.
or Google it after you do IMDb. But then there's also the internet scams that still exist out there, like these platforms that are, you're going to be part of this amazing marketplace and you're going to kill it, and you come in early and we're going to cut you in. And then 5 years later, nothing's happened. And they're still hitting you up and telling you how great it's going to be.
Right, because their messaging is all psychology, right? They know how to keep you hooked.
Right.
Even if you kind of go, maybe something's off, they'll know how to send you something to keep you from distrusting your own self.
Yeah. And for those of you at home who are wise-ass commenters on the side, and they love to comment on things, well, she should have known, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of high-flying players in this deal, okay?
Oh, yeah.
In the one we're talking about now, the online marketplace thing. There are some very serious movers and shakers with serious money in this deal. And they got boned, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
very, very smart.
savvy people.
Well, and that's the thing. You kind of have to stop looking at everything. You know, the naysayers say, oh, you know, well, didn't they look at everything? You can look at everything, and if what you're looking at isn't true, and you're being hooked emotionally. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened to a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
That we've been sold. I mean, that's why we got involved with the Soil Project. How many chemicals are in the foods that all of us eat and all of us pay for? And now we're finding out, well, we've been finding out, right? Some people found out earlier than others, that's leading to a lot of issues that none of us could explain.
Well, it doesn't. And the other big issue for me always was, and what got me attracted to it, was the erasure of premium topsoil in this country, and how big ag, if you're listening to this, if you're one entity, sentient entity, you know what you're doing. You're selling additives for soil and telling people to till them in, rather than talking about regenerative practices, which, by the way, have worked for millennia.
Right.
And instead, you're selling branded, patented, trademarked products that, God forbid, some poor corn guy grows some corn and then grows some corn from that corn, you're going to sue them. What great people. You're really in full force and got your weight behind agriculture, don't you?
Right.
No, it's a lie. And so the topsoil issue for me was the big linchpin.
Yeah.
And it was that the people I was talking to in the Midwest and the farmers and ranchers that I knew know this is an issue.
Right.
Runoff and topsoil. So when we were talking about the macro message from this guy, oh, he's like, we're replace this topsoil and regenerates the soil for new growing and blah, 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 blah. And then it just went off the rails with the meat additives and all this crazy crap that he came out of nowhere at literally the 23rd hour. You're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Oh, and by the way, we're just going to put this in there.
We're going to put meat in this. What?
But again, you know, all of what we're talking about is there's a couple of red flags that people don't catch on to because they've been hooked into the story.
Right.
Right.
And it's a romantic story. And it's a valuable story. And the macro message is huge. And that's the same thing with this marketplace you got involved in. You know, it's the same thing with the movie. You know, it's just when maybe we're easy marks for people, but I've had 4 businesses, you know, so it's like I've done it, you know, so it's like I'm not a Johnny off the turnip truck guy, right? I read the contracts. I read all these things. They were, you know, set up to ensnare you from seemingly legitimate people. And in the marketplace thing, I think, and honestly, I've told you this, I think it's a front for a well-known organization that has a fairly bad reputation.
Yep. And, you know, I call this legalized extortion.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Well,
really
there's
what
basically nothing in the marketplace thing. There's almost nothing you can do. The money just vanished, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's just, it's
But
it's
you know,
weird.
going back to what you said, is all of the people on the movie that I was working with who also lost, they could afford to lose it, but nobody likes to lose it. And what does that even mean? I can afford to lose it. Very smart people, but we all got hooked into the emotions of it, right?
Yeah, put it in perspective for the audience, you lost enough to sustain most people for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
The guys who you talk to still about what's the ongoing talks, they lost 5 times that.
Right. Right.
and maybe more.
Right.
Sometimes they're embarrassed to tell you what they actually lost.
That's right. And you know that the money that I lost was not only there to sustain me and that I earned it, over savings since I was 21 years old. And it was a lot of money to me, but it was, I also was using it to support creatives and entrepreneurs. So all the projects that I would want to get involved with right now, I actually have to say no. I can't even write, right? So that's a hit to an economy that matters to me.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Any other things that have come up lately? I mean, those are the big three.
Yeah, those are the big three, and I think we're bringing it up again because it is getting more and more rampant, and people really have to be discerning. I mean, this.
I have another one.
Okay, what?
The X Prize thing.
Oh my, yeah. Okay.
That was not a con, but that was a dealing with someone who didn't want to listen and would not take advice because they're very, they're just set in their ways. There's a lot of other ways I would describe this, but not on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was an example of a creative who said that they needed our assistance, our expertise, and so we did, and he ended up not really ever wanting to take any sort of direction.
None.
So he just went off in his own direction.
Did not win the X Prize, did not go into the finals, did not go to the quarterfinals, did not accomplish anything.
No.
And unfortunately, I think he has either some very serious health issues or perhaps expired. We've lost touch with that person.
Yeah, so that's another one. We had to kick that person out. The damage was done in terms of time lost, space lost, right? So it's always something, but also we learned a lot because all these characters are different. It's not like how there's all these programs about narcissism, and now they're getting into like breaking down all the varieties of narcissism.
Yeah. Because
if you lump it all into one whole, you are just making such a bad mistake. Humans are such a varietal, and the bottom line is humans are capable of great good, great evil, and everything in between. And if you put them in a circumstance which is going to make them choose, they're going to choose.
Yeah, we do have several episodes out on liars, cheats, and thieves and everything in between. It's an audio podcast. You can go check that out on this channel. We describe a lot more of this, and we have had a couple of people on who are experts in this field and who are involved in investigating major league scams.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting news. I mean, you might want to take a look at it or listen to it if you're driving your car.
We'll put a link on it to this episode because I do think it's good because, we predicted or we knew this was going to come down the pipeline and affect a lot more people.
Yeah.
That's why we talked about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, on that not so positive note, we're going to end this episode and hopefully you don't get burned today. Keep your eyes open, read your contracts, and, stay alert, right?
That's it. Stay alert.
Yeah. So thanks again for being here with Sarita Patel and Latham Woodward at Sarita Behind the Scenes with Sarita Patel. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Latham. Thanks, everyone, for listening. See you next time.
And viewing.